Shuri's Black Panther, like Letitia Wright did the very best with what she was given. So I don't blame it on her. And like I don't want to hear about the stupid controversy with Letitia Wright about the vaccine and shit, and I don't care about that. I really don't. Um but and then the stuff with her getting injured and whatever. Like I really don't care about the controversy and stuff like that. But I just felt like it wasn't right for her to become Black Panther right now. You know. Now, I will say the way they handled it was better than I thought it was going to be, but it still didn't all the way feel right because the whole time she was driven by anger and rage. Like she never even believed in the tradition of being a Black Panther. She didn't care about the rituals and the super natural stuff and like the spiritual aspect of it. She was all about the science and the numbers and stuff like that. So it was just really it was strange for her to just pick up the mantle, all of a sudden. Now I know they were at an act of desperation that they needed the Black Panther at that moment to fend off Talokan. But like, it just goes back to, just all this, T'Challa's loss, it just is causing a domino effect of all this other stuff happening. Um So the biggest inconsistency with her being the Black Panther is that she doesn't know how to fight. She's not supposed to know how to fight. I mean, it's okay. She can train, but that's the problem. They never show her training to learn how to fight, you know? So when she's the Black Panther, and in that climactic battle, she's doing all these like acrobatic stuff and fighting moves and stuff like that, like she's been doing this for years. I felt like that was a bit far-fetched, and I know comic book logic, you got to suspend your disbelief to a certain extent, but these are rules that they established from the previous movies, from the first film and stuff like that. It's Civil War to an extent. Like they established that T'Challa, had to train to be a good fighter. He had to train to be a Black Panther. Just because you take the heart shaped, I mean, yeah, just because you don't take the herb. Let me rephrase that. I'm sorry. Just because you take the herb doesn't mean that you know how to do all these crazy abilities and stuff like that. Doesn't automatically make you a good fighter and a good Black Panther. You have to train to do that stuff. So it was just odd that I'm sorry, that Shuri was the one doing all these crazy fighting moves when we never see her train. Like the easiest thing they could have done is just had like one scene at least of her being trained by Okoye or something, just one scene of just seeing her learning how to fight, just to establish that she knows that skill. We're just supposed to assume that she knows how to fight, or the herb gave her the abilities that she needed. Like, no. But just on a on a physiological standpoint, I just didn't like the motivation for her to become Black Panther, just because out of an act of desperation or an act of revenge, because Namor killed Ramonda in this movie. And I did them killing Ramonda. I'm just like, why? Why more death? Why more death in this? We already are dealing with the loss of T'Challa. Why did they feel the need to kill off Ramonda as well? I didn't like that. I really didn't like that. We didn't need that. Of course, it seemed like they felt like they needed that one more thing to push Shuri off the edge, for her to just be driven by race the entire time. So I get what they were trying to do, but she was already at that place. She already was there. We didn't need Namor to kill her to add that extra thing of motivation. We didn't need that. And so it's just like it I don't know, it just didn't feel right. When Shuri was telling M'Baku that I want Namor dead and you're going to help me whether you like it or not. Like that just didn't feel right. It almost felt out of character for Shuri. Like I know she's angry, but like for her to say that and then other stuff she said like if I think about T'Challa too long, I feel like I want to burn the world with everyone in it. I'm like, Jesus. Like and I don't know if it's like how much of that is the writing or the actor's personal emotions with that. But it's just something just didn't feel right when I heard Shuri say that. It just as I said, this movie just felt too personal. It really did. And though I guess I will say with her acting that way, I kind of I kind of liked how Killmonger was, a factor in this when she went to the ancestral plane, and she saw Killmonger. Um, at first I didn't like that at all. Like I thought that was a forced way for them to bring Killmonger into the movie, but watching it a second time and actually thinking about it kind of starts to make sense for me now because Shuri was driven by rage so much, and she was once again she didn't believe in the ways of the Black Panther and the spiritual aspect of it. So she only did this because she wanted enough power to fight off against Namor, and that seemed to be a similar motivation that Killmonger had in the first movie. He was doing it for power. So I guess it would make sense that Shuri would see Killmonger in the ancestral plane that way. So on that aspect, I thought it was fine. But it's just the principle of the thing. I just didn't like it. It just shows how important T'Challa was, you know, in this franchise because he was the person to ground everybody. You know, like he would. You needed that noble way of thinking from T'Challa to just help, balance everyone's emotions and decision making and stuff like that. Like for the longest time, I hear that that people think that um T'Challa was better in Civil War than he was in his own movie, and I disagree with that because I mean, yes, you had the badass fight scenes with T'Challa in Civil War, like you saw the more aggressive nature of him. But like the reason why I loved T'Challa in his first movie, was because he you had the noble way of thinking that he had, you know, with his character, because like you need that, you know, like you need he was trying to unify everybody, like kind of in a Martin Luther King type of way. He was trying to bring everybody together. And like if you didn't have that sense of warmth and like, just humanitarian type of stuff from T'Challa, you know, then it will be repeating the sins that, his father T'Chaka and the previous kings before him, making the same decisions of them making these cold-hearted decisions, you know, that could possibly wage war between different countries and nations, against their own people. So not having T'Challa there, you're seeing everyone making these brash decisions and like one, causing these conflicts that didn't need to be there. You needed T'Challa there to balance everyone out, to bring everyone together, to have that unification. You need that balance. Of course, you have to make those hard decisions, for your nation because you're king. Not saying, it can't, not everything can be solved with the humanitarian mindset, but like you do need that balance. And T'Challa was that balance for everybody. And you're seeing how it's affecting everyone, especially Shuri.